below as 8 goal and below. Now, I know that isn't in reality and practice how it works. There's a lot of professional polo played below 8 goals, but that is the boundaries set by the government on how to bring in migrant workers, migrant grooms to support the professional level of the sport. It's obviously something that is ongoing between the HPA and the government, and it's a real hot potato at the moment across all migrant workers coming into this country. It's something that has got harder and harder and harder to deal with, and we are aware of how difficult it is for clubs to get workforce and players to get workforce to work with their horses and grooms. And so it's something that we are constantly looking at and trying to fight the corner for players and clubs. But it does come down to what the government allow us to have from a migration point of view and a migrant workforce. So it's not us as an association being difficult and putting in roadblocks. It's very much us pushing to get as much as we can to be able to have as many migrant workers as we can, but we don't control that. So that's the overview of where that is now. Vix, you're going to pick up on sort of other areas around training and things that are happening across the groom area.
Yeah, so someone just contacted us talking about skilled grooms struggling to find decent polo grooms for daily work. And then they sort of kind of said the HPA might consider supporting initiatives such as winter training programs, exchange schemes, with Argentinian grooms, or financial educational incentives to help UK grooms build sustainable year-round careers in polo. That's just a snapshot of what they've mentioned, but we do have an apprenticeship scheme. It's very new, and we're sort of we're trialing it at the moment, but we need to, and we're sort of kind of changing it a little bit, but we are about to push details out to the membership about the apprenticeship scheme. So we do have some criteria for that apprenticeship scheme that we've got to look at, but at the moment they have to be an HPA academy. They have to have a resident HPA licensed coach. They have to hold a riding establishment license, and they have to pass the relevant checks, welfare checks, health and safety checks, which actually would be brought up in your riding establishment license anyway. They're a member of the Equestrian Employers Association, and they have to meet the provider's requirement, i.e. have in place the necessary contracts for those apprentices. So that's not us requirement, that is an apprenticeship government requirement. So the provider being the company that oversees or certificates that qualification. So it could be sports structure, but that could be anybody in your area. And then there's a sum of money that we would give per student that comes out in 3 payments. So once the application has been approved, halfway through the course, and then the final payment will be issued on completion and on certification. So we've currently got 2 students already based down at Druids, and we, like I say, we are going to open this up to more people and make it more known that we are running this program. The fact that it's mentioned here, Argentinian grooms, I don't know whether they would be covered because the apprenticeship scheme, the students have to be UK based. Again, different providers may have different criteria, but they have to be a UK registered groom. If someone wanted to offer some kind of groom or training for their grooms over the winter, that would be great, and happy to talk further. We have been looking at putting together a qualification for grooms entering the country based on the pony welfare booklet. Unfortunately, for one reason or another, we haven't been able to get this off the ground because we did want it to be a requirement as part of the visa application. But it is something that we can explore further, and it is something that we are looking into and considering. So any help, support, suggestions, information would be greatly appreciated. But it is something that we are looking to work towards.
Brilliant, thanks, Vix.
Tom's got his hand up.
Tom, your hand up. Oh, you're on mute.
Oh, microphone. Send them up to me. Absolutely. I mean, I've got accommodation. Horses were a 12-month round a year establishment here. We struggle. I don't necessarily want Argentinians. Anybody that's keen to work. I know it's a 4-letter word, but for Christ's sake, it's difficult to find people. I'll train you. I'll teach you. Crystal's with me. You'll end up with the potential round-the-world career if they just bother their bum to come up here and work. Very happy to join that scheme.
I will send you details.
Oh, I'm sorry to butt in without my hand up. My screen's not working, so I can't put my hand up. But a note on these apprentices. We've got obviously the two of them. One of whom we employed her as a polo groom, and she's very nice. She tries, she just found the job too hard. So she asked if she could, rather than be a groom, if she could join the apprenticeship scheme, have fewer horses, earn less money, have more time to practice. She opted for that, and I think there are a whole host of people that it's just a slightly less daunting way for them to get into it. They get assigned somebody who's directly helping them. Mm-hmm. It's a gentle launch into that world for them, and I think the HB having its own apprenticeship scheme is a really good step.
Thanks, Abby. I think that's a really good point there. I think it can be quite intimidating for somebody coming from out of polo straight into polo, because it's so unique and it's so full on that actually, by the sounds of it, the way it's formatted, that gentle launch might mean to an easier progression into the sport, and that might mean that they stay a bit longer. I think it's a massive issue in general, staffing. Tom, you've just said, everybody in polo, whether it's internally within this country or trying to get migrant staff from abroad, it is a huge problem. And I think it's a huge problem across lots of different equestrian disciplines. But
industry-wide, horse industry-wide, everybody has the same problem with staffing, and it is something that the Grooms Association are trying to help support, resolve. And we are in the hope that we can, putting this apprenticeship scheme together with the funding that we can now provide, we're hoping that we can help develop and support grooms and facilities to support their staff.
Yeah, I think the takeaway is we're aware of the problem. Unfortunately, there isn't a magic wand or a quick fix. But as long as you know that we're aware, we are trying to do things to mitigate it. And the migrant situation is not something that we have the control over. That is very much something that the government give us an allowance on, and that's why we have the criteria for what we do now with the points through the VL tournaments. So, like we've said all the way through this evening, any suggestions, any ideas, let me have them. That would be great to hear from you, because it's a big problem for everybody. Okay, any other questions on that? No? Okay, so I'm just going to open it up for the last time. If there are anything anybody would just like to raise now, please do so. Otherwise, we can look at a proposed date for the next meeting at the beginning of